naming Turnabout Ranch as plaintiff, asserting that Brewer shouldn't have been admitted to the school because he was suicidal. And in February 2021, a former student filed suit as well, citing Paris Hilton's recent revelations as inspirational to her. Hannah Archuleta was sent to Turnabout Ranch by Dr. Phil directly after being on the show with her parents in 2019. Her father contends that he withdrew her from the ranch after 2 months, at which time he attempted to report her allegations of sexual abuse to the Garfield County Sheriff's Office, whom he says never questioned his daughter. The lawsuit alleges negligence for hiring the staff member Hannah accuses of sexually assaulting her repeatedly during her stay there when she was 17. Her suit contends that following a subsequent incident where she was touched inappropriately by the male employee, she told a female employee what had occurred. She claims, however, that the issue was not addressed, and instead, she says, she was subjected to retaliatory punishment such as being, quote, required to spend extra time picking up horse manure, walking in circles around a horse corral, and sitting at a desk facing a wall for hours. I also had to do forced labor outside in below freezing temperatures and sleep on a wooden plank with no pillow. Turnabout Ranch contends that they, quote, took immediate action and issued a statement in response to the filing reading in part, quote, unfortunately, her father removed her from our facility before we could conduct a full inquiry. Both she and her father were unwilling to communicate with us from that time. We interviewed other students and staff members and were unable to corroborate her story. We fully cooperated with the Garfield County Sheriff's Office, but without further contact with the accusing party, our options were limited. We would never take lightly an allegation of mistreatment to any of our students. Now that this incident is the subject of litigation, we must withhold our full response for a later date. But it is important to note that these allegations were fully investigated and that the account given by opposing legal counsel to the media was incomplete, to say the least. She's represented by high-profile attorney Gloria Allred, who chose the week of February 22, 2021 to file the Archuleta suit as to coincide with the Utah State Legislature's vote on SB 127, which looks to increase oversight with protocols like increased inspection of facilities and increased reporting on the use of solitary confinement and restraints, as well as putting in place regulations such as reducing the use of restraints, chemical sedation, and seclusion. Both Turnabout Ranch lawsuits are ongoing. In 2012, Elizabeth Verney sued the ranch and its parent company, Aspen Education Group, alleging torture. The 34-page federal complaint included allegations dating back 7 years to her stay there in 2005 at the age of 15, such as forced sleep deprivation, withholding of food, extreme exercise and forced labor, forced to sleep in filthy clothing and not allowed to shower, consistent verbal abuse, and regular public humiliation. That suit was dismissed 18 months later because the statute of limitations had passed. The federal judge stated that Verney and her mother had simply taken too much time to file their lawsuit, about 5 years too long to be more exact, as they only had 2 years to file a claim against a healthcare provider. Paris Hilton held a rally at Provo Canyon School back in October of 2020, where she says her abuse and mistreatment took place, after which State Senator Michael McKell felt compelled to work with her. He proposed SB 127, and Hilton was one of 3 individuals to testify in support of the bill in early February 2021. She called being placed in solitary confinement in a, quote, small room covered in scratch marks and smeared with blood with no bathroom one of the most vivid and traumatizing memories I've experienced in my life. The bill passed the Utah legislation on March 2, 2021, with Representative McKell saying, quote, reform in the troubled teen industry is long overdue. This episode is brought to you by Best Fiends, the free-to-download, obsession-inducing Match 3 puzzle game like none other, with thousands of levels and new ones added all the time. There are so many pleasures in this world to feel guilty about, from my obsession with serial killer documentaries to my deep love of energy drinks and occasional vaping. Many of the things I love are probably best left not talked about. One thing I know I have zero guilt about is my love of Best Fiends. It's an endless source of fun that I can get to whenever I want. I've been playing for so long now that I could be a little obsessed. I mean, it's been years since I've even downloaded another game, and I love that I can play however I want. Mindless swiping if my mind needs to take a break, or deep concentration if I'm trying to do my best. I can play however I want to get the most out of my playing time. With Best Fiends, every day there's something new, from cute characters to collect to new levels, prizes, and events. The fun simply never ends. Download Best Fiends free today on the Apple App Store or Google Play. That's friends without the R. Best Fiends. Two months before Clay Brewer killed Jimmy Woolsey at Turnabout Ranch, the mother of 15-year-old Cristian Cuellar-Gonzalez filed suit against Brookhaven Youth Ranch, located 30 miles north of Waco, Texas, after state legislators found them at fault in his death. Unlike Turnabout Ranch, Brookhaven did contract with the Department of Juvenile Justice at the time of Cristian's death. However, the facility had been dropped by the time the state investigation was concluded. He had been there for 3 months by order of a juvenile court judge. Named in the suit were the facility, its parent foundation, its executive director, 5 security guards, and the boy who was convicted of killing her son. Cristian's mother contended that an unnamed 16-year-old boy got into a fight with him under the guise of a game reportedly referred to as Kingpin, where a larger boy tries to pin a smaller one to the floor, wrestling style. But unlike PE class or being on the wrestling team, this match was unsupervised and disregarded, as Cristian's mother alleged was the culture there due in part to their shortage of staff. The sheriff reported that Cristian and the older teen began arguing inside a dormitory building before the fight began, culminating in the parking lot. Cristian was younger, half a foot shorter and 45 pounds lighter, and was considered disabled by his mother's description, making him unlikely to be able to defend himself against this older, larger teen with documented, quote, physical aggression and anger management difficulties. She accused Brookhaven staff of merely watching the kids in their care assault each other, saying they would, quote, simply observe this child-on-child violence without making any attempt to intervene, creating a Lord of the Flies-type atmosphere, referring to the classic novel about a bunch of maroon boys and their attempts to construct their own civilization alone. Spoiler alert, it didn't go well. The initial altercation was broken up, however, the staffer tasked with monitoring Cristian didn't, and the older teen was able to attack him again. Though reportedly being subdued by a staff member, the older boy escaped his grasp. He rushed Cristian again, pushed him to the ground, and delivered a fatal kick to his head. Once employees intervened, Cristian had already been kicked to death. His assailant took off on foot and was soon located hiding in a barn. Though few details about this case and the outcome of the lawsuit against Brookhaven turn up, CourthouseNews.com reported that it's revealed in the suit that Cristian's killer was ultimately found guilty of murder and sentenced to a lengthy prison term. With more and more survivors of these schools speaking out and legislation protecting them increasing, it's likely more of the troubling facilities will shut their doors, and hopefully in their place will spring new forms of treatment for kids designed to address their trauma, not cause it. Clay Hilton Brewer will be 22 in 2021 and is currently at Central Utah Correctional Facility in Gunnison, Utah, in the Boulder Unit, where Parley Jess Dutson, the exiled FLDS killer, is also housed. For more information on the topic of the troubled teen industry from the survivors themselves, search #BreakingCodeSilence to see what they're saying. Come back soon for an all-new episode, and until then, lovelies, don't be scared.